War of the Roses was released in 1989. It was directed by Danny Devito and it stars Kathleen Turner, Michael Douglas and Danny Devito. This film tells the story of Barbara and Oliver Rose, a wealthy couple who we see over the course of their 18-year-old marriage descend from happiness into a vicious and very funny divorce and battle over their palatial home. As always guys, thanks for supporting this channel. Please keep on supporting it. Hit that subscribe button so you can follow this channel. Hit the alarm bell as well so you can get notifications from me when my video is going to be uploaded, and help give this video a like as well. War of the Roses marked the third collaboration between Danny Devito, Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas. Their first was the classic Romance in the Stone, which was a nod to the Indiana Jones film, and also it was just a rip-roaring action adventure. Loaded with suspense, loaded with tension, loaded with humour, and great chemistry between its on-screen actors. The sequel, Jewel of the Nile, whilst entertaining in parts, it lacked the charm of its predecessor. There was meant to be a third instalment after the Jewel of the Nile, where we see Jack Colton and John Wilder reunite again for a third adventure. But due to issues with the script, scheduling problems, it just never got made. Danny Devito came along and gave them the idea for War of the Roses, and they all jumped at it. The War of the Roses is a very dark and very funny film. Danny Devito is a powerhouse in Hollywood. As an actor, he's given us a variety of charismatic and likable performances. He's also a well-respected producer. With his production company Jersey Films, he has produced a plethora of cult classic films, including Pulp Fiction, Get Shorty, Gattaca, Out of Sight, Freedom Writers. And as a director, he's established himself as one of the most respected. Throw Mama from the Train was a cult classic. A very dark but very funny film, loaded with very good performances and an Oscar-nominated performance from the late great Anne Ramsey. He's taken that same style of humour and has applied it to War of the Roses. From the opening scene in War of the Roses, this film is told in flashback sequence, and we see Danny Devito as a lawyer, Gavin, informing a client about the potential for a divorce, the consequences of a divorce, and he tells him the story about the roses. Now, what was interesting about the client who he was advising was the fact that that was Dan Castellaneta, who is the voice of Homer Simpson in The Simpsons. And Danny Devito would voice the role of Homer's brother in several episodes of The Simpsons. So it was a good connection there. The War of the Roses is a very clever comedy and it's very dark. And Danny Devito has a dark style of humour and he's applied that. And there's some really unique and funny shots that he takes in this film that he did when he was in Throw Mama from the Train. Whilst the humour is not laugh out loud, it's very clever and it's very devilish. The cast in this film are great. Danny DeVito, Kathleen Turner, Michael Douglas, they've all worked well together in previous films. The standout star in this film was Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas is more known for his dramatic roles. Comedy is a very difficult thing to nail. And not taking anything away from Kathleen Turner and Danny DeVito, these guys are established comedic actors. We've seen Danny DeVito in Twins. We've seen him in Ruthless People. We saw him in Throw Mama from the Train. He's got great comedic timing, as does Kathleen Turner. We saw her in Switching Channels. We saw her in Peggy Sue Got Married. We saw her in The Man with Two Brains. She knows how to deliver comedic humour. But Michael Douglas's filmography hasn't got any of that. Whilst he did appear in Romance in the Stone and Jewel of the Nile, those films, whilst action comedies, they were driven more by suspense and tension and action rather than comedy. And if you look at his films prior to starring in War of the Roses, in 1987 he starred in the erotic thriller Fatal Attraction. In that same year he starred as Gordon Gekko, the ruthless Wall Street business owner, which eventually won him the Academy Award for Best Actor. So to go from erotic thriller to drama to comedy and to nail it so well is a huge accomplishment. His mannerisms, his facial expressions, his delivery, it was all on point. And you do get some actors who try to tackle a different genre and you think, you know what, no, you shouldn't have done that, you should stick to what you're good at. Michael Douglas nailed everything in this film. He was incredibly funny in this film. And he has gone on to showcase his comedic timing in other films as well, such as The American President and the Ant-Man films. But this was a really good stepping stone for him. Kathleen Turner was as likable as always as the sultry but depressed Barbara Rose. And to see their interaction between one another and see how they're trying to get up on one another just made for a really good treat. And Danny DeVito, he doesn't star prominently in this film, but the support that he lends as always, is reliable. And he was just as likable as always. The War of the Roses is a beautifully paced film, and to just see how their marriage descends from happiness to violence was just a really good transition. And this film is loaded with some hilarious moments. From the heart attack scene with Michael Douglas to when he tries to read out the letter that he wrote to his wife and how he had a spasm every time. The fight over Benny, the fight in the house, all of these are just brilliantly orchestrated. And the humour is placed at the right time. It's not just humour for humour's sake. And there was one scene where we see Oliver Rose cutting up the heels of his wife's shoes in a shoe cupboard. And what was interesting was Michael Douglas did that exact same thing in 1984's Romancing the Stone. So I don't know whether that was a nod to the previous film, but it was a very nice touch. And the most hilarious scene in the film for me was where we see Oliver Rose ruining Barbara's dinner party with her guests. Just to see how Michael Douglas delivered that was just hilarious. But War of the Roses, at 31 years old, it is still a hilarious film. And out of the 3 films that Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner and Danny DeVito did, I would order them like this. Romancing the Stone first, War of the Roses second, and Jewel of the Nile third. Jewel of the Nile is the weakest out of their collaborations. But War of the Roses is still a firm film. And I'm glad that they didn't try and do another collaboration, because I believe that when you've done something that well, leave it there. A very dark but very entertaining film that will leave you satisfied. And I will give this film a very strong 9 out of 10. So guys, that's my review. As always, thank you for watching this channel. Please keep on supporting it. Hit that subscribe button so you can follow this channel. Hit the alarm bell as well so you can get notifications from me when my video is going to be uploaded. Help give this video a like as well, because I want the channel to grow. I want to do more reviews, and there will be more reviews coming. Leave your comment with, out of the 3 films that Kathleen Turner, Michael Douglas and Danny DeVito did together, which one was your favourite? Comment down below and I shall see you all on the next film review. Take care.